We're in the home stretch. Thank fucking God. We're free from Act 4. On to the last few updates to go for Shadows of the Damned. A game which...
all uphill from here.
Yep. A game which, as I've just discovered recently, apparently had been backwards compatible on Xbox One for a while. And the reason I know this is because it had recently been delisted from the Xbox Live stores.
Ah, that's what that was about.
Yeah.
I saw people talking about that earlier on Twitter, but
it's like our LP is like maybe has convinced people that they shouldn't keep it up anymore.
Just looking at the store and going, oh no, this was a bad idea. What were we thinking?
Of course, the other possibility is that they might be taking it down in anticipation of like a remaster, which, I mean, Travis Strikes Again did technically tease at us.
Yeah, I can imagine I mean, remasters are like the big thing and have been for the last year or two now.
Yeah.
So I could see it happening, if only to try and milk a few more dollars.
Yes, but it's a dry heat.
Not for me, though. I think buying this used copy and then doing this LP is kind of... It's funny because I think when after we did that episode in Travis Strikes Again, I was actually thinking, you know, like if there was a remaster of this game that came out, I totally would buy it to check it out. But I ruined it for myself by doing this instead.
I was actually talking to someone about it last night, saying that we'd been doing this LP, and they were like, I really loved that game. And I was like, yeah, I thought I did as well.
Yeah.
Nostalgia, it lies to you.
Ooh, yeah. But I think just the more baffling thing for me, now that I realize over all the years that I've done Let's Plays, this makes 4 out of 8. I am now at like a 50% ratio of doing LPs of games that later get like some manner of updated re-release. I did Metal Wolf Chaos, like the year that, you know, like From Software noticed that people were making noise about it, and Devolver was like, yo, let's talk. And then
the Ninja Gaiden series gets updated every 14 months.
Well, yeah. It was like I did Ninja Gaiden Black and Sigma, and then months after that finished, Black became backwards compatible, and then I finished Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma 2, and then 2 became backwards compatible, and now this game is like, it's been delisted for like the possibility of there being an updated remaster to replace this. Like, do I have some kind of hidden power in my Let's Plays? Is this what's happening? Is there any way I can control this? Who do I have to fuck to convince Sega to make a new Virtua Fighter? Please!
I would say you should concentrate on using your powers only for good, but nah, evil's way more fun. Start playing the Bratz games.
No.
Just HD Bratz. Bring the nightmare to life.
Oh, Jesus.
It'd be more horrifying than anything Akira Yamaoka could come up with.
Fuck, that's actually how it's gonna happen. I'm gonna get convinced to LP Ninja Gaiden 3 and Razor's Edge, and that's gonna be the only way 4 ever happens. Oh no, what have I done?
You done fucked up, son.
Oh yeah, there's a mini-boss.
Oh, yeah.
Continuing our LP trademark of not talking about new shit as it shows up.
Like the Skull Cushioner, which fires a big bowling ball.
Yep. And a like multi-chain QTE where you have to like hit X number of buttons correctly to get out of a grab. Which, thankfully, it doesn't require you get all of them correctly, or else I would be taking way more damage.
Yeah, still a complete pain in the ass, though.
Yeah. Also, it's already just like a slightly modified version of like the Gyarados ripoffs anyway. It just has the electric gimmick.
Yeah. Just different weak point. Have to blast off his very 80s shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Can you be an 80s steampunk enthusiast? I feel that's what he is. With the Tesla coils and everything.
People will combine shit with anything these days.
Yeah, just glue some gears on it. While it's steampunk.
Oh well. That's in all fairness, I am still kind of glad that we're kind of back to just doing like this regular gameplay
rather than another fucking shoot 'em up section.
Yeah. Or a reprise of the Big Boner.
Yeah, someone in the thread mentioned that they had been watching Californication.
Oh yes, I saw that.
And after a while, they were like, "Are they just getting paid to make their fetishes into episodes?" And I'm not sure if that's not the case here.
I would believe it more if they actually managed to cram more in than a bunch of lazy dick jokes and having a giant version of your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if you're going to go that route, like, don't half-ass it. But unfortunately, as we've seen, half-assing is kind of this game's MO.
Yeah.
It did not go far enough with the Evil Dead reference, and it did not go far enough with the creepy fetish shit.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day that the game feels like the first draft, you know, where they've
even
got
though
all
there were multiple.
Yeah,
that's the worst part.
Yeah, it's like they've gotten the stages up and running and everything's reasonably, you know, in place. So they get to the point where they're going to start fleshing it out and adding all the bells and whistles, and then EA were just like, nah, it's good.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they've got a reputation for doing that.
Yeah. So much for that fucking EA partner plan they had.
Ugh. But hey, at least the online season pass thing died a horrible death.
Oh fuck! I remember that.
We all remember that.
I still specifically remember like WB's attempt with that for Arkham City, because it's like I could not buy that game like at the start, and I was looking forward to like, you know, like I liked Arkham Asylum like most people did, so it was like, oh hell yeah, I'll totally like play the next game. Catwoman missions, awesome. Until they pulled like the fucking bait and switch at the end that like, actually you have to buy it new and put in this code if you want to get those. And it's like, well, fuck you too, buddy.
Yeah. And it wasn't even like there was much to do online.
Yeah. And then, funny enough, I did end up getting the PC version, like, years after the fact, and it was like with the Catwoman mission stuff, it was like, oh, that's it?
Yeah. It's like, well, that was a fun waste of 20 minutes.
Yeah. It's funny,
like the music for the Catwoman missions, though.
I mean, they were ultimately fine. They did a good enough job of like differentiating like her traversal stuff and like gadgets and whatnot. But I think what stuck in my mind most is so you know how the Sigma versions of Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 always had like the extra character chapters that were like poorly slotted in between parts of Ryu's campaign, and it just felt like awful pace breakers. Yeah, I felt that when I finally tried the Catwoman missions and realized how they were actually implemented.
Yeah, it's like you're kind of like, this is with the PC version now, yeah. And pretty much any digital version of it you buy, you get them, you know, as standard. So these days you're kind of like, yeah, they suck, but it's a nice extra, you know.
Yeah.
But back then it's like, okay, so I was like, I bought it secondhand when it came out and didn't get the Catwoman missions myself, and didn't actually play them until I got the PC version. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was supposed to be excited for this?
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's like anyone thinking that they had a right to like be excited about separate ways in RE4.
Again, nice extra.
Yeah, an extra, which they thankfully had the right idea of not forcing you to play like at in-between points in Leon's campaign. Like, I think that's still ultimately the difference. For as much as I rag on separate ways, at least, like, I don't have to, like, play that in order to continue in Leon's story.
That's true.
But then again, I also have the GameCube version, which does not have separate ways, and therefore that's my reason for calling it the definitive version. Because there's no unlockables tied to it, so I don't have to go through that shit again every time I buy it on a new platform.
Yeah. And you will.
Nah, no I won't. I already bought it on PC and barely played it.
No, because it shows up regularly in sales, I usually wind up getting suckered into buying it for whichever console or platform I have now.
Yeah.
I genuinely think I've bought it about 5 times.
Yeah.
I may have a problem. So, bowling.
Yeah. Not bad.
Or would it be more pachinko in this case?
No, this one's definitely bowling. The arrangement
yeah.
of the enemies, yeah. The pachinko's later.
Ah, right.
Well, that's not concerning.
You know, there's a head joke here somewhere, but I'm too mature to make it.
It's funny, like, I think this is, like, the second moment off the top of my head in which we've seen, like, severed heads rolling across the floor. Like, the first was, like, a whole bunch of them rolling down a hill way, way early on. But, like, both of those I find weirdly, like, work.
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know, something this game lacks. Subtlety. Is that what you call it these days?
I have heard tales of such a thing, but I know not what it is.
I know, it feels almost mythical.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't actually talked about what the Skull Cautioner can do.
Yeah, it's it basically like makes like a big rolly grenade. Like if the previous version of it was like basically charging it up to create like a huge slug gun / rocket. This is just full on grenade, but without any of like the bounciness that you would want out of like say a Quake grenade launcher.
Yeah, it's again the use of it is very situational.
Yeah,
it's mostly for puzzles and to fill in a slot essentially.
Mm-hmm. And compared to all the other gimmicks we've like faced up to this point, I mean, aside from the fact that I'm clearly fucking up right now, still better than a lot of the other shit we've gone through.
I mean, it's as far as minigames in this game goes, it's definitely better than running around in the darkness taking mandatory damage.
Yeah, and like. And the part that makes this one work well enough, especially when you get the right angle to have it roll on there, is that the blast rage is strong enough that you never, like, end up in a situation where you might, say, like, only take out half of the pins or a third. You know? It's not like a regular bowling ball. It's a bowling ball that doubles as a fucking bomb.
Man, I wish I had that in Yakuza 0.
Oh, yeah. Make getting Nugget that much easier.
Yeah. I mean, once you actually figure out the trick, or, you know, look up a guide, as most of us did, then, yeah, it's like 3 games or less, but...
Oh, yeah.
Still just really annoying for the first hour or so you're trying it.
Sports simulations are, like, kind of interesting, and in that I feel the fun factor of them is based on how well you're able to, like, game the particular, like, physics and like and mechanics and such, and I feel that's like always the case with whenever there's bowling in video games.
Yeah, it literally just becomes a case of find the sweet spot.
Exactly, and it's like once you find that and you got the timing, there's like no like need for any further deviation, which is something that I feel is harder to get right if you're like playing like a baseball game or something, or golf. Because golf's got other factors, you know, because you have like wind, like getting in the way of things, you know.
Yeah, like games like that tend to have more random chance in them, whereas
bowling is just static.
Yeah, with bowling, even in real life, it's more based on the player than any kind of outside influence.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will come in and be like, no, it's actually very deep and blah blah blah. I don't care.
Anyway, she's back.
Yay. And it's kind of difficult to take his promises that she's not crazy, considering she attacked him with a knife.
Yeah.
So it's a bit hard to let that go.
Yeah, yeah. And she's still back there. You can just see her like through the door. Yeah. At least you can see these pylons before you have to face the electric enemies associated with them. Gives you a little bit of a head start.
I wish that guy from the cabin hadn't been torn into tiny little bits. We could use another gunman.
At least he and his woman are together now.
Now that you mention it, doesn't that mean his
Dressed
son
in
is being
pieces.
damned to the underworld? Kind of weird to picture him as one of those babies going
Oh yeah, that is a terrifying thought.
That's...
He's fucking stuck as one of the doors that we have to shove like strawberries down his gullet. That actually would have been a pretty good gag if it was like you found one of the doors, but instead of a baby's face, it's just him and he's super pissed.
It's like, fuck you want. Through the door. Yeah, well, we all want things.
Yeah. Oh, missed opportunities.
Hey, remember when I had a body and a grenade launcher? Those were fun times.
Remember when I had a grenade launcher that shot bullets like a Tommy gun?
Somehow I always forget that part.
Oh, I'll never forget it. And I'm not even like a huge gun nut or anything like that, but that still strikes me as the most baffling shit ever.
I remember someone telling me if you really want to upset a gun nerd, show them the picture of the Franken gun from the original Resident Evil cover.
Oh yeah, the one that like, yeah, with like Chris like on the cover.
Yeah, it looks like it's been made out of like 17 different parts.
Oh, that's right, yeah. It's like they were trying to go for the fucking pulse rifle aesthetic in Aliens, but just thought, nah, this isn't far enough.
It's like trying to create the pulse rifle, but without any understanding of, I don't know, weapons.
Yeah, because it was like... Yeah, because it's supposed to be like a big like assault rifle, but it's also got like, you know, like other gun parts like put into it that are clearly not of that class. And then of course there's like the whole flamethrower attachment that like Ripley puts onto it near the end. And
yeah,
like the grenade
like
launcher underslung.
Shotgun, assault rifle,
yeah,
squad weapon, you know. Just
holds
show it to people.
Holds 90 plus fucking bullets.
Yep.
It really is the perfect video game weapon.
And usable by only one person.
Yeah.
One-handed.
It's true. Fuck, I miss good Aliens games. Or rather, I miss good AVP games.
Well, Marvel have the license to the Alien comics now, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, Disney owns Fox, which owns Alien, Predator, and AVP. The AVP arcade game's all part of that.
Yeah.
Ergo, Lin Kurosawa's a Disney princess.
Yes! So
just as everyone
wanted.
wanted.
Dot Schaefer.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. She was awesome.
Yeah.
Still need to get hold of the NECA figure of her at some point, but it's really expensive. So, annoying maze.
Yeah, kinda. You have to like go through the right door, and then like shoot the switch on the other side. Like
damage.
It's at least a small area, but yeah, unfortunately you can't just shoot a goat head to relieve yourself. Which I think would actually make this area a bit better, because those switches you can't even destroy anyway if you're, like, not in darkness. So, like, that's at least, I think, the part that, like, has the darkness make a bit more sense in terms of it being something you have to deal with. Because it's like, in order to truly progress, you have to kind of wade through it anyway. But if you give yourself a safe spot, you're not going to be able to, you know, do anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fully on board with areas in games which are like, okay, show us what you've learned. You know, it's like a culmination of everything that you've done so far. But just sometimes they just do it really poorly.
Yep. Although, kind of one annoying thing is that, like, you see, like, that sort of, like, outline around the health bar that, like, drains, which shows, like, how long you can stay in darkness. The frustrating part, like, what I kind of did earlier was, like, step into the light and then back in, kind of thinking that, oh, if I step outside, it'll be instantly refilled. No, it does not. It still has to do a manual recharge.
Yep. Ah, thank fuck a goat head.
Yeah.
Really hope no one takes that out of context. Just reaches in and clips out the word. Clips out me saying "fuck a goat head."
Red text for that's no one's gonna read on a dead gay forum. Hey, buddy.
Happy trails.
I have no idea what the fuck happened there. Why he clipped out?
You all got stones, but you got any gems?
Ah, Chris.
You're still the best side character here, buddy. Even if you do try to eat my hand repeatedly.
See y'all real soon.
Fuck, realizing that this game was backwards compatible on Xbox One makes me so much more pissed about, like, the technical performance from this used 360 copy. Because you know that it would have been, like, completely fixed, given how emulation on that system actively improves 360 and Xbox original games.
See, I don't have an Xbox One, so I have no idea how much it adds or doesn't.
Well, the other thing also is that around the start of the year, I started messing around with PS3 emulation. And, like, being kind of surprised at, like, how quickly that was kind of developing. And realized that Shadows of the Damned actually runs pretty well on there. Yeah, it's like UE3 games are like pretty quick to like run pretty solidly on that thing, considering it is a common engine from that era. But for whatever reason, I decided still to go with like this 360 copy instead of just emulating a PS3 version because like the thing with the emulator though is that it basically compiles all its shaders for individual games on the fly when you run them. So it leads to this sort of problem where when you run a game and are in the gameplay sections for the first time, you're often left for like a microsecond, a black screen, and then you see individual parts of the geometry like pop in as it's like compiling and caching all like the shaders for it.
Oh.
And it's like it obviously like saves it in the cache once it happens, but I was like, if this does this for the like as I'm going through the entire game one time, I'm effectively gonna have to play through it twice. And it was like, I'd rather only do it once, so I'll just stick to the copy that, like, is actually still commercially available. Even though now I kind of am, like, regretful of the decision.
Mistakes were made. Playing this game was only one of them.
Yeah. So this is something that, actually took multiple retries, but you're only going to see one cut. I did not realize, until now, you could stun Psycho Paula with the light shot. And that's how you're expected to do this. None of the other chase sections required you to stun her this way.
I vaguely remember maybe doing this, or possibly running around her, getting her to do the old rope-a-dope. but...
Yeah, I think, yeah, because there's, like, the arch on the left side where it's, like, you can run through there, like, but I, for some reason, just did not see that. Unfortunately, because of, like, the reloading checkpoints, for whatever reason, it did not save the fact that I already beat this Cyber Goth El Gigante the first time.
Fuck.
Yeah. Oh well, more
So
gems.
why is that thing sounding like a monkey when you shoot it?
I have no goddamn idea. I mean, they are hell monkeys.
Yeah, fair point.
Whatever, just kill this guy like the fast and easy way, even if it does not give you as many white gems, but do you really want to do the normal way every fucking time?
I mean, this game's long enough as it is.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just feels that way.
It feels that way when you're rewatching it. It doesn't actually feel that long when you're playing because it basically puts you in a coma just enough that you're still able to function and, like, basically do the playing equivalent of sleepwalking. I realize now that's why, like, why it was the way that it was, and, like, when I completed it, I was like, well, that was alright. And instead, we're here, and it's like, what the fuck are we even doing?
Just struggling to fill every second.
Or we are filling every second, just not with stuff that's relevant.
Yeah, just like, so Warhammer 40k is getting a new comic coming out soon. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, whatever. Oh, man. But that's it. That's, like, Act 5-1 out of the way. Got a few more levels that are, like, still about the same quality, and honestly, after it going through Act 4 all over again, this is still way better. But now let's move on to the thing that we actually love.
Yes.
Yes, back to Kurayami Dance, as we start Chapter 11, Separation.
Personally, probably think this is one of the darkest chapters we've come across so far, but for less than obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's definitely the saddest from the perspective of Kaido anyway. When you look at it, how it's gonna affect him. But yeah, we're following the events of the Dead End reality TV show and Mr. Tainai killing himself in order to prove a point, and Kaido's funeral for him, he opts to... he's already cremated him and is going to spread his ashes to the sea. Something something, you're all diamonds now. Fuck, whatever.
Make ashes diamond.
Yep. Kaido also gets a little bit of respect for Tainai, even though just for, you know, kind of like even up to his very end being like fully committed to like his idea of finality and just being like in a hurry to die because of how he's basically done everything he's needed to. Like he's even like separated himself from his own family just so they would not like know where he was or grieve for him. Following the service, they return to the hotel. Mr. Edogawa's there, says that a messenger has arrived for Kaido. It's our old buddy G!
Castle. Yay!
Yeah, he's the messenger here. We're being reacquainted this chapter with a lot of characters that were in the previous volume for very clear reasons, as you'll find out.
Yeah.
There's a pretty clear connection between them all. So, they head back inside the hotel to a special VIP room, which has all crazy manner of security devices and scanning chambers, which feels a lot like overkill.
Yeah, I think he's getting fitted for one of those Gundam suits from G Gundam in one of those images.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, these... Well, I don't... Unfortunately, there's, like, no, like, tight-fitting latex suit being formed on him, so clearly it's not.
Darn.
So, into the room, it's Luna.
Ooh.
The girl with the lisp. So yeah, apparently she's like the actual messenger that Kaido was supposed to meet, like, and hand her his document so that he can actually get to the castle, you know, because that's the whole reason he's here. I feel like we have to keep somehow reminding people that that's the job because of all the other distractions that have happened.
It's easy to get sidetracked.
Yeah, but yes, Luna, as we probably could have guessed, especially based on sort of like what dialogue was had in the previous chapter, she is the Kurayami princess.
Dun dun dun.
And how fitting that her name, Luna, of course, has to refer to the fucking moon.
Can't be a Suda 51 production without the moon being involved front and center.
Yeah. And so, right now, she needs Kaido, you know, after he just got done with another funeral, he needs to perform another. For 3 people, no less. Some important people, she calls them.
Yeah, they just get wheeled in on gurneys in a body bag, so must have been quite quick.
Yeah. All 3 people that were apparently trying to protect the kingdom, but it did not, you know, help them in the end. And yeah, she tries to like swallow a pill full of poison that makes her like vomit out blood in the process, because I guess she decides, no, 3's not enough, gotta add another to the pile.
See, I wasn't sure what had happened in this one, because I wasn't sure if it was vomit or if she'd been shot in the head, or if it was like a pill that made her face explode. Like,
yeah,
not too clear.
Yeah, it's like vomiting up the blood after consuming it is like the only guess I could make.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Dr. Moonlight barrels right the fuck in and like is told, yo, she just poisoned herself. It's apparently from like a like not even natural species of snake, a genetically engineered one with a very specific poison. But he's like, fuck it, I'm the best doctor ever, I can fix this.
Fuck your science, I'm a wrestler.
Yeah.
Barrels through 3
gonna
walls just to
DDT
get to
this
his
snake
circuit.
venom into hell itself. But yes, now here comes the unfortunate kind of news. It's ultimately like a lot of important information that we're given here, but it's at the expense of Kaido's well-being, the revelation about like who these 3 cadavers are. The first is the butler, the old lady who basically reprimanded us like on the train for not being a gentleman. And I guess what this provides in terms of extra context is that basically Luna's butler, I suppose, had been like pretending to be like kidnapping Luna and like taking her, keeping her captive of her own free will to get her away from the castle.
Yeah, we could have kind of should have seen this coming. The simple fact that like this is the first time we saw Luna without her.
Pretty much.
So the fact that she's alone kind of suggests that something may have happened to her minder.
Yep. Oh yeah, and also G, like the reason why he's here in the kingdom and is kind of able to do what he wants. He is part of the castle. He works for Kuragane as the kingdom's treasurer.
Yeah, the fact that he works for them again also hinted with the phone call that he made. You would not have seen that coming that he was the treasurer though, seeing as how he was, you know, throwing raves and slaughtering hundreds of people at a go.
Yep. The second body is Luna's driver, the dude that shot us with a tranq dart, who apparently though, like, yeah, his actual like primary job is like a royal assassin.
Yeah. Again, not surprising considering that Akane was facing off against him in combat.
Yeah, and so, yeah, it was just like him and the butler were essentially just both working to, like, under this sort of cover of, like, basically, like, making themselves, like, traitors to the kingdom by pretending to kidnap Luna for, like, her safety, because clearly something is up at the castle that, like, if some people have, if a person or some people have died there, it's clearly not safe for their princess, so they have to take matters into their own hand. But unfortunately, him and the butler were both done in by a third person who is actually the third cadaver and a friend of G.
Yeah. And this is where things take a turn for the dark.
Yeah. The third is Akari. She got killed. Her entire upper half just blown off.
Yeah, like... I mean, in fairness, you do have the plausible deniability in that she's missing half a body. Doesn't necessarily mean it's her, but everyone seems to be pretty certain that it is.
Yeah, that, like, she's kept that same skirt on, like, since the moment she first met Kaido, so it's like it's hard to ignore.
Hmm.
And yeah, as it turns out, she was another assassin who was specifically charged with protecting Luna. Possibly, from what I'm understanding, like, obviously not in cahoots with the butler and the other assassin. Like, most likely hired by someone else, thinking that that Luna was legitimately kidnapped. And just doing her job without realizing the bigger stakes involved. Which is, like, when you get that context and see her, like, lower body just there in the bag, she got a real fucking... She got it bad.
Yeah. That seems to be a case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing.
Yeah. Just... Nothing in this kingdom is as pretty as it likes to make it on the surface.
Mm.
Another funeral's done. G, I guess, even though, like, he, like, swore to, like, kind of, like, not do, like, the funeral stuff anymore after his falling out with Kaido's old boss, he still joins in on, like, the doing the service anyway, considering, you know, the people that are killed were, like, also important to him as well.
Yeah, I imagine he's doing this more as a favor to the deceased and to Kaido.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, they're still friends. They're both affected by this.
Yeah.
So, following this, Kaido goes off to be by himself, although obviously being by himself has the stipulation of Chalia continuing to hang around, and he's really not in the mood to be talking with Chalia right now.
Yeah, Chalia's been very quiet the last while.
Mm-hmm. Yep, just lets out all his tears with the same stoic expression he's always had.
And mentions that he's gone past the point of sorrow to just numbness.
Yeah, which is like, you know, with all his other funeral services that he's had to do in his career, like, he's kind of had to as part of the, you know, as part of the job requirement, having to deal with that much death, that, like, even when it comes to people that he, especially someone that he became personally invested with, it's like, it's hard, it becomes hard to ever be able to mourn them the same way that, like, an average person would for their loved one.
Yeah.
And yeah, Chalia starts talking more, and they're just really trying to get at the heart of, like, what Kaido's thinking, and being like, dude, did you really want to marry her? Were you really convinced? Even brings up his mother, like, in regards to that particular flashback, that whatever might have happened, like, with, like, her marriage and trying to raise Kaido was, like, it clearly was not all, like, sunshine and roses for her, that, like, it likely would not have been that much better for him.
Yeah, considering that she tried to seemingly take him out in a murder-suicide pact, that's probably a bad button to start hitting to begin with.
Yeah, it's like, and Kaido understandably gets increasingly pissed off at what Charlie is saying. Like, he is very much not in the mood for like getting lectured on this matter, to the point that he just hits his point and goes, "Fuck you, get out of my sight."
Yeah,
And
and
yeah.
it doesn't help as well that, like, Kaido's clearly looking for someone or something to take his sorrow and his frustrations out on, and Charlie is just like, "Hey, so let's talk about the woman that you were completely dumb for agreeing to marry to begin with. Like, did you really think that would work? Really?
Yeah.
Really?"
It is also kind of sad though when he tells Chalia to get out of his sight, just that bottom middle panel is like, for as bizarre of a shape that Chalia already is, that is like the most like sad and heartbroken that you could make a creature like that look.
Yeah, he genuinely has a look of, wait, that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
You're breaking up with me? What?
Yeah, we're no longer BFFs.
But we're buddies.
Yeah, we played bowling and Uno.
Lots of Uno.
We hung out on the beach. We talked about all
was-
the good times.
It was fun, you know, and you're telling me to fuck off?
Yeah, it's
I'm
like...
just trying to cheer you up, man.
Yeah, this chapter's called Separation for a good fucking reason.
Yeah.
It's on multiple levels.
Like I said, this is arguably one of the darker sections in the series, because everything else is like people killing themselves and murder, but this is something I think many of us, pretty much all of us, can relate to in some level or another.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just...
It's like that argument with a friend that you don't really want to get into, but you just keep sinking deeper and deeper into it until one of you inevitably says completely the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's just... It just gets that volatile, like, everyone's had something like that.
Yeah.
But-
And then eventually one of you just goes, okay then, well, I guess I'll see you around.
Yeah,
But you never do.
and he leaves. Kaido commits himself now to just being on his own and not getting misdirected by Chalia, even though some of his advice was technically helpful in the moments that he did, like, pipe up. But
Yeah.
after this, he just doesn't want any more of it.
Yeah, I think you could easily argue that Charlie has been doing a lot to keep Kaido on the path without getting distracted too much. Because every time something weird happens, he's like, well, time to get back to work.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for that, he'd probably still be back at the Tanaka Kingdom.
Yeah, most likely. So it is with leaving all these people behind that it makes sense that Kaido is now ready to leave the Union. We are now done with our Flowers, Sun, and Rain esque retread. Saying goodbye to everyone, to Dr. Moonlight, to our ex, to fucking Edogawa.
Dig.
Yeah. Moonlight at least gives us a pretty great firm handshake.
Yeah. I mean, aside from arguably Yayoi, what does he have left here? Everybody he knows is dead or is left.
Yeah.
Or
And
he's
it's
driven off.
And it's like when he says, when I want to die, I'll come die with you, you would normally, like, in any other story or context that would seem as like a playful joke, but with what he's going through now, that might be a bit too serious, you know?
Yeah, there's an unfortunate undercurrent of, so, I'll be back round in a couple of days, and then we can, get it over and done with. Ew.
Yeah. And they're gone. Like, bye to Moonlight, Yayoi, Edogawa, the spirit of Tainai, and Chalia. Gets a last little wave in. And of course, goodbye to Akari. This is the point now where with the hotel behind us, we're entering what I think is best to describe as Act 3 of this whole saga. Because we are getting closer to the castle, but we still have one final group of, like, important characters that are gonna need some introducing and, like, you know, very, very important details that finally give a bit more context to, like, not just Kaido's past, but also the Kuragane family as a whole.
Yeah, we're still missing so much context for most of what's happened, and also for the characters that we've met so far and are still to meet.
Plus some other fun cameos, you know, just to lighten things up. Because it's Suda. Yeah. Like, this thing was fucking made in 2016, and, like, there are bits about it, especially where it further feeds into, I think, just the past few years, Suda trying his goddamn best to lead everything to the Sudaverse. You'll love it.